Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
All right, Obie, let's play a game.
Let's do.
What does A&M basketball do well? What are they really good at? I mean, throughout the season, they've had stretches where they've been cold, but like
they're a 3-point shooting team.
Okay. Are they pretty good at the press?
They have been.
Yep. Pretty good at shooting threes?
They have been.
Pretty physically fit?
They're very much so.
I read your column yesterday, and I think one of the things that they're great at is something you wrote about. Perseverance.
Yes.
Oklahoma State and then UCF. What do they do after that? They rattled off,
I think
5
it was
wins?
5 wins.
Okay. They lose to SMU in a close game.
Yeah, that they gave away.
Yep. What do they do after that?
They went on another winning streak.
6
maybe
wins.
About 6 in. Yeah.
Yep. Tennessee, a game that
could have won.
People in this building thought they were going to get blown out. I'm not going to say who he is with a mustache, but what do?
They go into what? Double overtime?
Yeah.
Had a chance to win that game.
And that
twice.
was the game on this show where we're like, hey, this team might be for real, right? Remember that?
Yeah,
Thinking
when
that?
you go up there and dang near win and just let another one get away from you.
And then they go on this dreaded losing, 6 of 8?
6 of 8.
And they get 2 must-wins down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
One, an emphatic blowout against Kentucky.
Yes, and
a beatdown.
And one, an impressive come from behind, persevering in triple overtime to beat LSU on the road.
So, to me, not that this is what they do best, because we're about to find out here with the tournament, one and done, right? But that is one of the storylines of this team. And if you go back to the very beginning of it all, when they were predicted to be 13th in the SEC.
And quite frankly, I thought that was generous. At the time.
How? And then they lose their star player.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't even mentioned Mackenzie Mbako, which we didn't get to see, right? We didn't really get to see.
Yeah, 7 games.
So you lose your NBA potential lottery pick guy, or at least first-round pick guy potential. You lose him. You lose games that would make you think, all right, this team sucks. Like the Oklahoma State game, I was like, I guess this is who they really are. And they go, this team is really good at fighting back from adversity, persevering, and we're about to find out with the ultimate test. And by the way, it either ends with them winning a bunch of games in a row and winning a national championship, which I don't think many of us are predicting that.
Right.
Or it ends with a loss.
Yeah.
But will that loss be in the first round, second round, third round, national championship game? I don't know. And I think that's where, and to me, the season is already a success.
It is. I agree.
But they cannot see it that way right now.
No, they don't. You want more. You're trying to put off the stay of execution.
Yeah.
And hopefully they put it off for a long time. Frankly, in my opinion, if they get 1 win, that's
ultra successful season.
That's an amazing season. Yeah, I mean, they're playing with house money now. Because, like you mentioned, they were picked 13th in a 16-team league.
Now, but you know what that says? That says we don't know jack.
No, I think it made sense.
Yeah, but people don't. In today's world of sports, college sports,
that's true.
It's very difficult to know anything. I mean, especially with an upstart team.
Right, but I would have asked if someone said, "Okay, David, you've got to you got to put your monthly pay.
I would have said 11th.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't know where that number came from.
But it wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't have been in the top 10. I would
have said, no, you don't even have to put where they're going to finish. I'm just going to ask you, you put a month's pay on whether this is back in November.
No.
Whether they're going to get into the NCAA tournament.
No. But I would have given a month pay that they would have made an interesting ending, finishing the season, like as a team that maybe if this goes right, if this and this go right, we're going to make it.
Well, you say that about everybody, right? If this goes right.
If 10 teams make it from the SEC.
Look, I would watch them go out, and I'd see them, blow away Manhattan or somebody like that. And I'd say, yeah, okay, they have some talent, but I'd still say they're just not big, and that's what worried me. And then they did rely so heavily on the three, and I'm thinking, okay, this 3-point, they're going to be really good, but then you got to think about when other teams, coaches start figuring them out. And that's kind of what happened.
53, 54 weeks ago, okay? I'm talking about the very beginning, when Buzz leaves and everybody's like, I'm out. I would have said to you on that day, okay?
Yeah.
They're going to be the worst team in the SEC next year.
Right.
It's going to take 2 or 3 years for whoever the head coach is, maybe Chris Beard, maybe Bucky McMillan, to build a winner.
Well, why wouldn't you think that?
Right? And then the press conference happened, and that press conference, like, maybe they because there is something about how engaging Bucky is.
Very much.
Right? Do you remember there was a negative opinion of the hire from a big, not a majority, but a loud minority when it first, because everybody wanted the big name. They wanted Chris Beard. Oh, we had to get this guy from Samford. Literally 12 minutes after the press conference, I think that loud minority kind of saying, I kind of see what they're doing here.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. Which, by the way, is why I think that A&M is finally. I'm more optimistic than ever that A&M has found the right coach at the right time for basketball, because not only does he play a style of basketball that's fun to watch, but he's this charismatic guy with this personality that attracts people. Unlike Buzz, who actually had a press conference, said, I don't want you fans talking to me. I won't go to church, and I don't go out to eat. I'm not making that up. He actually said that. Remember that? Or then there was Billy Kennedy, who is a nice guy, but he just doesn't have a charismatic personality, right? And before that, look, I wasn't here for Turgeon, but seems like the day he got here, he was looking to leave.
Yeah.
Gillespie had his own demons, right?
But charismatic in a different kind of way.
Yeah, but
not in a Bucky like. Bucky to me comes across
almost a boyish enthusiasm.
I don't drink beer, right?
No.
Yeah, boyish. But Bucky's the kind of guy like, you can probably have a beer with him. It's like you, Olin. Anybody can have a beer with Olin.
That's true.
Like, you are that kind of personality.
I like to talk to people.
Yeah, you do. And Bucky comes across that way.
Well, look what he did this week. He planned an event, or at least signed off on an event, to have a watch party and made himself available. And I watched kids coming up and getting his autograph, people coming up and hugging him and things like that. And I just think that he's this personality that A&M basketball needs.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I wasn't here when Shelby Metcalf was here, but I was with Tony Baroni, and I remember
Melvin. I remember Melvin too.
So he's probably the most fun guy since Shelby, and even different because he's young as Shelby. But Shelby, by the way, had a lot of success.
But to my original point, I had a moment where I'm like, oh, no. I had a moment after that press conference, like, maybe we're going to, and it's just because he won the press conference. Winning the press conference does not guarantee anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just cool, right? But I left that press conference like, and then they started doing pretty good in the portal based on what I thought they were going to do, okay? And I'm like, maybe, but the reality hit, like, after, a couple weeks, you're like, there's no way. They're like 5'2". You got Herb Villachez and Webster playing basketball versus, Shaq. It ain't going to happen.
Look, all the years of being a newspaper reporter, I've become that guy that's supposed to, that just expects the worst, right? And yes, I will give you, he won the press conference. I was impressed. I was thinking, I think I like this guy.
Yep.
But at the same time, I'm like, Jimbo Fisher won the press conference.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And by the way, it doesn't mean that next year won't be a step back. Like, I don't think it's going to be a step back.
No, I don't either.
But a press conference does not mean anything other than like, oh, they speak good with the mic. But what it did mean to me was like, all right, this charismatic personality is going to be able to sell Aggie basketball to folks wondering, why do I want to come to A&M when everybody's gone, right? And he was able to getting Ruben Dominguez was a big deal. Getting Mackenzie Mbaka was a big deal. Fighting for Agee. Without Agee, this team does finish 16th or 13th.
Yeah, I think what you'll see over the next year or however much time they have to, when the portal opens and all those things, is they will spend their money more wisely, or wiser, whatever. And that's not to be critical of how they spent it this last year. They were in
they had to make a team,
a hard place, right? And they had to put together a team as best they could. But I think you'll see them be even smarter in the transfer portal and land. I bet you they land some guys that everybody is going to be going, well, oh my gosh,
right.
What's going on there?
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get that win or two, right?
Yeah.
Because imagine like the kind of momentum NIL-wise potentially is out there with even more success.
I just hope they're able to control the pace of play against St. Mary's and give all those people out there who watch the tournament that normally wouldn't see A&M and give a very accurate representation of what this thing called Bucky Ball is supposed to be.
Yeah. You know me, I'm typically like you, a little pessimistic at times about stuff. I kind of think I like this. I don't like this matchup because of the obvious reasons.
The hype.
But I like this matchup. I feel like, all right, come to our deep waters. Let's see if you can swim when you go deep.
I'm hearing people say, not necessarily at A&M, but when I read and even watch myself some highlights and things like that, they're really big, not as athletic big as I've seen some of the other teams, Big. I'm not saying they're stiffs either, but I'm just saying not as athletic as maybe some of the big guys that A&M has faced, especially Florida.
Another thing, okay, I'm going to tell a long way to get to my point.
Okay.
I think it was Kobe Bryant's rookie year. Okay. And I've probably told this story before. I know you know this story. They're in the playoffs, and Kobe misses like 8 threes against the Utah Jazz. Okay. What was that, 1997, 98? Okay. And I think the Jazz went to the finals that year, lost to the Bulls. But Kobe was a rookie, and he kept on shooting threes and kept on missing threes, okay? And it was just like, why is this kid shooting? Stop shooting. And he's like, give me the ball. I'm going to keep shooting. And he kept on missing. They get back from Salt Lake City. I'm telling the story as I remember it. I may have some details wrong, okay? Get back to L.A., 1 a.m. What does Kobe do?
Go shoot.
He goes to a high school gym.
Start shooting.
And he shoots, and he shoots, and he shoots, and he shoots, and he shoots. And that's where I think the legend of Kobe Bryant's work ethic like really kind of blew up. They lose to Oklahoma. Bucky says on Saturday, we're going to practice not once, but twice. We're not going to be tired. We didn't play. We're going to keep practicing. I was not happy. That's what he said on the show. And we're going to run that interview because we did it off air yesterday. But we're going to practice. I was not happy, that's his words, with the way the game went. I freaking love that.
Well, I think he was also saying when we were talking to him at after the watch party, he was saying that they had to get through the SEC gauntlet, and it was late in the year, so they really didn't practice hard. They were trying to save their legs, and then they didn't look like the team they've been all year. So I think what you gather from that is this is a team that you just push them.
Yeah.
And if they run out of gas, they run out of gas. But if you're not pushing them, then they just don't respond.
Yeah.
And they're not. Of course, now there's only 6 games left to play. Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
And they want to be pushed. now. And hey, they've got a week of rest. I think you'll see. I'm reasonably optimistic that you'll see the what we saw against, like, at least the effort that you saw against, like, Kentucky in those games that they had to win.
What I want to see them do, and I think we will see this, is get to the middle of the octagon and just start going in blows, just fighting, right? And I want them to go Max Holloway style. Let's hit each other and last man standing. No.
Here's what it is. I want to, because it's what's today?
Today is St. Patrick's Day.
So it won't walk in like what's that guy named Conor McGregor with the have Conor McGregor swag.
His swag, yeah. There's a lot of things I don't like about Conor, right? Yeah. But there's a lot of things I like about Conor, and I want them walking in like they've got the biggest brain on the planet.
And yeah, go in there ready to fight. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
This is kind of great.
And by the way, if somebody pinches me, they will be put in a guillotine choke, okay? They're going to get in the rear naked, so don't pinch me. I don't play the pinch game.
You're going to get what?
Rear naked choke. You want me to show it to you? You want me to show you what it feels like?
No, I don't.
See if I can put you to sleep.
I don't want to be.
I think that would be a good thing to do with
I don't want to do a rear naked with you.
Rear naked choke? No? You just squeeze the air?
No. Well, why do they call it rear naked?
Because I don't know, actually. Because you're behind
I don't even want you choking me clothed.
I'm going to Google. I should know that. I'm sure somebody's listening right now. So, okay, fine. I'm going to do a rear.
Make sure safe search is on when you
Josh,
search that.
I'm going to take off my Wi-Fi and do it. Rear clothed chokehold. Hey, rear. Let's move on. What's the name of this show?
I don't even know. This is TexAgs Live.
And we are presented by?
David Gardner's Jewelers.
Are you sure about that? There was a hesitation for a moment.
I was just still
thinking about the rear naked?
Yeah.
You Googled that once. And it didn't turn out the way it did for me. And we are in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Brought to you by Jason Jackson, Keith, and Morgan, and everybody else.
And the girls.
Yeah, the boys and girls there.
And this hour has a name. We call it?
The Go Hour.
Presented by the?
Warehouse at CC Creations.
And
it's right there.
Over there is the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
The cool zone, the fluid cool zone that travels all over the place, because nothing's cooler than making money, saving money, investing money, having money.
And spending money.
I like that too.
I don't really spend a lot of money.
I don't like it as much as Irma likes it, but I still like it.
I like spending other people's money. That's fun.
Yeah, we're going to do some of that.
Where are you going to go to lunch today? All right. Hey now. Not 713. I was about to give you the phone number at 1560. I haven't worked there in 20 years. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you call us where?
At the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
That number is?
979?
Yeah, you're
693?
Yeah.
1150.
Yeah, and you can text that number as well. We call that something else, though.
The Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line.
Let's go around the room, left to right, behind the glass, and say hi to our director. His name is?
Nick Savage.
Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
What's up?
Hey, OB, I know you've been kind of, off on the Cowboys lately, right? So I'm going to propose to you a new NFL team, okay?
Okay.
San Francisco 49ers. And I know getting past the California part, that's tough for you. But Christian Kirk joins Mike Evans in San Francisco. He signed a 1-year, $6 million deal yesterday to join Mike Evans, who signed a 3-year, $42.4 million deal earlier this offseason. So how about that? 2 Aggie wide receivers in San Francisco. They're going to be fun to watch. But I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I figure they're drafting. They're going to draft KC Concepcion and just
make it an Aggie.
Awesome.
Make it an Aggie sweep.
Yeah, I was disappointed to see Christian Kirk not stay with the Texans because I like the Texans. I think it's very cool that he's going to be with Mike Evans, and I'm going to have to root for the 49ers.
Well, yeah, I can't, because if you're a real Cowboys fan, there's about 8 teams that you never root for. And
yeah, I get it. It's like Barcelona. I get it.
You don't root for the Eagles.
Yeah.
You don't root for the the Commanders.
Yeah.
They're the Redskins in my mind. I don't care what anybody says. You don't root for the Giants. You don't root for the Steelers. You don't root for the Niners or Packers.
I do have information on why they call it the rear naked chokehold.
I bet you do.
And you're going to love when I read you this line. It is for being applied from behind the rear without using clothing, naked, such as a gi or a jacket. So typically in jiu-jitsu, you use the gi, like I could choke you with your hoodie and it'd be over. You use clothing as a chokehold. It's not. It's just all arms and all. That's why. So it is naked. Just not the naked that you thought.
You just said naked, too.
Naked.
By the way, latest mock by Mel Kiper has Casey Concepcion going 31st overall to the Patriots. First rounder.
The Bills sure seem like they're very interested in him.
I don't remember if Casey mentioned the Patriots when we were there, Nick. Do you remember? He mentioned every team, but I don't remember them. Do you remember that?
He said he'd talked to like 20-something teams, yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We've got Justin Paez there.
Nice stash, Justin.
So, Justin, a couple of different things. Mm-hmm. You've got the Clark Kent little, right there, the little, what do you call it?
It's called the cluck.
The cluck.
And the mustache.
Travion Williams used to have something similar to that. It was
so you've changed your look.
I spent a few days in Nashville, actually.
Oh, you went to Nashville?
I did with my parents. It was a fun weekend. Even though we did.
Did you go for basketball? Or
we did.
Okay.
We did go for the basketball game. Obviously, that wasn't the fun part of it, but everything else
is
great about Nashville.
You came back looking like somebody from Kentucky.
Say what?
You come back looking like somebody from Kentucky.
Oh, you think so?
Kind of.
What do you have for us?
I was going to talk about Andy Garcia. Obviously, he is a Utah Jazz member as of now. Signed the 10-day contract a handful of days ago, but now has his first start in the NBA as of Monday night, I believe, or Sunday night. He's played or averaged over 32 minutes per game, 5 points a game, near 8 rebounds, almost 2 steals per game, and he's got 3 more games left on this 10-day, so hopefully it gets extended, but big news for him.
I would be shocked if he didn't. I mean, he's playing well.
He's doing the Andy thing.
And yeah, kids, you don't have to be the big scorer. Do all the heavy lifting, all the grunt work, and you can make it the NBA. Let the other guys score.
Yeah, just like they call
Play
them.
good defense. Get rebounds.
Be a Rodman, right?
Be a Rodman.
I liked Rodman.
It can't come.
Yeah.
When he's with the Spurs, he got to that point where all he wanted to do was rebound, so he'd leave his guys open so they could shoot. So he could,
And he wore a dress.
Yeah, I wouldn't. A wedding dress at that.
Yeah. He married himself.
What a crazy person.
Justin, we'll check in with you here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
OB, we were discussing potential lunch places. You're like, well, we could go here, we can go there. And then you're like, maybe there's this barbecue place halfway through. It's really good. And then it got me thinking about our barbecue place where they don't do rear naked chokeholds.
No, they don't. But you know what? I don't know how to transition into that. 1775, come as you are. Wearing green, well, not today. It's not open today, right?
No.
But if it was, come as you are. Just make sure you're wearing something, and experience that succulent brisket, those amazing pork ribs, that scrumptious jalapeno cheese sausage, and of course, you got to have some of the queso mac and cheese.
We should make it a thing where we have to, every time we go the next few times, order something we don't typically order.
Okay.
Experiment, because it's going to be great. Right, and then we'll have some new talking points.
Yeah.
But I mean, we know the Final Four. We know them.
Yeah. I tried to take Justin there one time, but we got there and I think they were closed for some reason. Or did we get there too late? They had run out. So
get there early.
Get there early.
Yep.
Because it's open at 11, I think, and then
they close. So they're sold out.
They run out.
Yeah.
And that was football season, so there was a lot of, and probably a home game. So there was a lot of people in town, and that it got snatched up right away.
Well, let's call them up at 979-492-6241 or check out their website, 1775txbbq.com.
It's good.
Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, it's time for the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used heavy equipment. Do you have anybody on your mind? I can give you a couple if not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably missing some. I know Hakopian came in and hit the ball really well.
Game one, he was 1 of 2 in the 3-game series and had an RBI, a double. He walked twice. In the second game, he was 2 for 2, including a home run, 450-foot shot. He was really good.
And of course, again, I don't have the actual numbers, but it just seems to me that Sorrell, who always plays well, had another good week.
Caden Sorrell always plays well defensively and also had a shot. I put Wesley Jordan on the list. He had a big weekend, a 3-run bomb in the Saturday game.
And if I don't know, I didn't see the info on it, but somebody must have done well for the softball team to go out there and treat LSU like a piñata.
Justin, you got some info on the softball team for us?
Yeah, Maya Perez and Kennedy Powell deserve the credit here as knockout performers. Obviously, they won the series in Baton Rouge against number 17 LSU. But Maya Perez, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 hits, 4 walks. She on yesterday, they did lose the season series finale, but they won the series. But she got walked 4 times yesterday. And then Kennedy Powell had 7 runs on 4 hits and 2 stolen bases.
They walked her 4 times on purpose?
I actually don't know that
They're treating her like Barry Bonds?
By the way, a name that I think we should mention is Clayton Freshcorn on Saturday. He was huge.
Came in, yes, huge. With what? With the bases loaded,
no outs. Yep. And 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. He was huge.
Gotta like Freshcorn.
Yeah. I do like Freshcorn.
Especially when he comes in and the bases loaded. Just put a rear naked chokehold on the Sooners.
I do think we should experiment, I should probably use a different word. We should just see how you would react to it.
No, we shouldn't. I'd probably, if it's.
I'm actually not doing that to you.
If it's actually done correctly, because I know the guy that, the Marine that got in trouble up in New York, he was doing something like that and put a guy to sleep.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah, I don't want to put you to sleep permanently.
I'd kind of like to, sleeping sounds pretty good right now.
God, sleeping does. And then the days that I'm going to sleep in, I don't. Like something wakes me up.
I know.
E. coli.
Oh, E. coli.
E. coli. Let's hit a break. We'll come back, talk to Charean the Dream. We'll have to talk to her about the 49ers Aggie team that they put together. Right now, we're talking about Rollo Insurance. You get a personal agent with a direct number, not a call center, not an automated system. Just your buddy that you can talk to like mine, Morgan. They're the official insurance provider of this program, TexAgs Live. And the difference is real. 60 offices in Texas. Whether it's home, auto, business, or ranch, start a relationship with an expert who puts you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your unique situation. They want to explain all their policies in plain language, ensuring that you're never left wondering about your coverage. When you need advice or need a claim or have a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows your situation directly. That's the Rollo difference, and the difference is real. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. It's Rollo Insurance. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We're joined by our dear friend Charean Williams with Pro Football Talk, and of course the Aggie Hall of Famer here on the program. Charean, good morning. How are you? Bueno? Try again. Charean, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Charean.
I want to know who picks out y'all's music. It's really good.
I don't know who picked it today. Yesterday was Olin's playlist with a bunch of Avril Lavigne. And today's been good, though. That's a great song. I was thinking the same thing. Hey,
good music.
Charean, so we'll start off with basketball. I got a lot of football stuff I want to get into, but let's start off with some basketball. Your thoughts on the Ags getting the 10 seed and taking on St. Mary's in the first round?
Well, I don't know anything about St. Mary's. Haven't seen them play. What I read, it's not a real great matchup for their ability to shoot free throws. They're number one, I think, in free throw percentage in the country. They're a very good three-point shooting team. They are very big. They rebound very well. So I don't know there's a real great matchup, but you're going to have to get them out of their comfort zone, and we've been good about that in many games this season with the pace that we play at. So, it's going to be their pace versus our pace, and who's going to win that. And whoever wins the pace of play, I think, is going to win this game. So we'll have to push that. I'm concerned just because the way we've ended the season, we haven't played real well. And, I think last week I talked about it's probably better if you lose in that first round and get rest and get home. But, you didn't need a blowout loss. And I did react as I thought I might react. A little annoyed at the way the game went last week. But, didn't end the season real well. I'm going to have to get that turned around. I'm hoping the rest will help this team and get them ready to run and hopefully run St. Mary's out of the gym.
Well, I think they're going to have to control the pace of play, which is what they want to do anyway. But if they don't, I'm very skeptical that they'll have a chance to win.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a real great matchup, and from that standpoint, they're going to have pretty much everything go their way to have a chance to win this. But look, it's been a successful season. I think, Olin, you asked, before we went into the Miami playoff game in football, would it be a success if they lost? It was, but I think we all thought they should have won that game. This is one, I think it's a bonus if you get past this first round. This wasn't supposed to happen. The coaching job that he did, I think, tells you that this is going to be a successful program going forward. So whatever they do, even if it's a loss in the first round, it's been a successful year, a great start to Bucky's career at Texas A&M, which I hope is a long one. But they've exceeded all expectations. So anything now, I think, is gravy.
Talking to Charean Williams, you mentioned it's not a great matchup, but I wonder if there's a way A&M can make it a great matchup, right? Because, yes, we understand how big that team is and the pace of play that they play at in St. Mary's. But if A&M is able to establish their brand of basketball and speed that team up, I think that could become the advantage in that game.
Well, I do think it's very hard to prepare for what A&M does. We've seen that this year, and I think teams in their second matchups with A&M did better than they did in their first matchup with A&M, but it's hard to prepare that first time. So hopefully that's the case, and they can dictate the pace of play, and if they do that, they've got a chance. They're going to have to shoot obviously better than what they have early in games. Mm-hmm. They've gotten behind, the last 3 games or something by 12-plus points, and they're going to have to do better than that. If you fall behind to this team by 12-plus points, you're probably not coming back and winning it. In fact, you're probably getting blown out.
A&M's going to have to shoot free throws well, too. You mentioned how good St. Mary's is. If A&M is able to dictate pace of play, then I can envision A&M's guards drawing a lot of fouls.
Yeah.
And A&M has been, like so many other things, A&M has been kind of erratic. So I've seen games where they're shooting like 90% at the foul line. I've seen games where they're struggling to get to the 65%. Who are you going to be?
Yeah. Well, and there's been games at the end of the game when they've shot well, as as a team throughout the game, and then it gets tight at the end, and they miss free throws at the end to keep the other team in the game. And you've got to make those. You've got to make those free throws. And against this team, I agree with you. It's critical that if you get the opportunity to go to the line, you have to make those free throws.
Charean, how did Christian Kirk end up with the Niners? What happened with he and the Texans? And what do you think about the pairing with Mike Evans?
Yeah, I think it's great for him. This might be the best quarterback he's played with. You know, he played with Kyler. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence, I don't know. Brock Purdy may be the best quarterback he's ever played with. This may give him an opportunity to be that guy that he was early in his career again. And I think part of his thing was coming off his injury last year and then just frankly playing with the quarterback that he played with. I mean, C.J. Stroud has struggled the last 2 years, as we all know. And he hasn't been the same quarterback he was as a rookie. So I just think Christian Kirk showed that he was better injury-wise in the postseason when he had the 140-plus yard game. He showed what he can be still at his age. I think this was a great – I had him on my top 100 list. I think he was 77th or something on my top free agent list. I think he can still play. I think he's still great in the slot. He can do a lot of things for you. I think this is a really good pickup for the 49ers for what they had to pay for him. So, I think the Texans weren't ever going to keep him after last season. I think it was a one and done all the way through, even when they traded for him with the Jaguars, and they should have their injured receiver coming back, and they've got some other guys, those young guys that they drafted out of Iowa State, going to be in their second year. So they were never going to keep him. But this is a great opportunity for him, and I think he'll learn a lot from Mike Evans as well.
So as Cowboy fans, are we supposed to start rooting for the Niners because they have A&M receivers?
Yeah, that's a tough thing.
That's asking for too much, isn't it?
Fans, I guess, right? That's a tough one.
You know what? I hope that Christian and Mike score touchdowns and catch a lot of passes and losses.
Yeah. And that could happen.
Charean, I do want to ask you a little bit about the Cowboys. I saw Jerry Jones' comments that wasn't too kind about the defense last year, and they're investing a lot in this defense. So what should be different?
Nothing.
Well, I don't know that they've done enough in the offseason.
Thank you.
You know, they traded for Rashawn Gary and gave him a pay cut. So, that's fine. They've saved money there. But is Rashawn Gary better than Jadeveon Clowney? I don't think so personally. At least not against the pass. Maybe he's better against the run, but he's not a better pass rusher, in my opinion, than Rashawn Gary. So you're not probably getting Jadeveon Clowney back. So you've really downgraded probably there. They are switching to the 3-4 defense. You traded Osa Odighizuwa, and I think he was a good player. I understand why you did it. You felt like you had 3 interior defensive linemen that you only needed 2, and he was the odd guy out, but you paid him all this money and re-signed him. He was your big splash signing in 2025 with the re-signing of him. So they've done some weird things, and I know for a fact going into free agency they wanted linebackers. Switching to 3-4, they needed linebackers. They got no linebackers at free agency. It's hard to use first-round draft picks on linebackers. Sonny Styles, if he's there, I think is going to be the pick at 12. I don't know that he'll be there. And if he's not, then I think you're kind of in trouble at that position. And I don't know exactly what they're going to do at that position because the guys after that don't really fit the 3-4 defense and what they're looking for. So I think that was a fail at the linebacker position. I do think they've upgraded their secondary. Jalen Thompson, getting him in free agency from the Cardinals, ex-Cardinal, I think was a very good move, highly underrated move. And I think he'll improve their secondary. So I think their secondary is better. But to me, that's the only area you've improved in your defense, that and the coordinator. And is that enough to get you? They don't need to be a great defense. They need to be top 20 defense. And if they're top 20 look, the Cowboys have a chance to contend if they're top 20 defense. I just don't know if they've done enough to get to top 20. They led the league in most points allowed last year, 511. It was a franchise record. They'll be better than that, but how much better? Can they get up into the top 20? I don't think they've done enough at this point, but they do have two first-round draft picks to secure 2 more starters on that defense, and that'll help.
I bet you if Cassius Howell fell to the second round, that if the Cowboys even have a second-round pick, that they would want to jump all over that.
They're looking for edge rushers. They're looking for linebackers and, probably still some secondary help. But the main 2 areas that they want are edge rushers and linebackers. And anyone who's there at those picks that they have are going to be guys that they're going to go after for sure. There's no question about that. That's still huge needs. I just don't think they have enough to. We all know. I mean, we've talked about it 20 times on the show, maybe more, that where you're going to win is in your line, your offensive line, your defensive line. And right now, to me, the edge rusher spot of the defensive line, they have the tackles. They're going to be very good there. They have 2 very good defensive tackles. Quentin Williams is one of the best in football. Kenny Clark is really good. They're set there, but if you don't have the edge rushers, you can't get to the quarterback. You're not going to win in this league.
Charean, great stuff. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Charean Williams there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a little bit more before OB's got to go pick up a rental car and we get ready to leave for Oklahoma City. All right, we'll hit a break here. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. There's car buying, and then there's buying a car at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They're going to take amazing care of you when you go there. They have a committed sales staff that brings decades of experience, and they want to make sure that you get complete customer satisfaction. If you're looking for an SUV, a truck, whatever it may be, let the staff at Caldwell Country Chevrolet walk you through the entire process. I think you'll love it, from the beginning to the middle to even afterwards, because they have amazing customer service when it comes to when you've purchased that vehicle. Complimentary pickup and delivery for that service, and also they're going to give you free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the Performance Polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out Burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. Final segment of the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Still got a couple hours left on the program, OB. What are we going to do today? We're going to head to Oklahoma City. We'll shoot a video when we get there. We got practice tomorrow, right?
Kind of a light day, except for travel,
Today, yeah. Well, it's a 7-hour drive, right?
Yeah, about 7 hours. We'll have to stop and get some lunch.
Yeah. Do some work when we get there.
Stop at the WinStar and play a few hands.
You've said that every time we've mentioned it.
Yeah.
I don't even know where the WinStar is.
We'll drive right by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to stop.
Okay. Are you the kind of guy on road trips that, like...
Well, you've taken enough road trips with me.
Well, I know how it is with my family. When we go on a road trip, there's no stopping. I got to use the restroom. You should have gone when I asked. All right? We're going to stop for gas. We'll stop for one restroom break. And I'm trying to make record time going slow every time. I want to break records. I got like little milestones, and I don't want to get off the path.
I used to be that way, but the older you get, the more stops you need to make.
Well, I get that. Just don't drink a lot of beverages on the drive, right?
Right.
Did you see the Matt Leinart whole little blurb? So he was on a podcast recently, and he mentioned that USC on a couple of different occasions have asked him to give up his retired jersey.
Oh, okay.
And he said the word that I'm not going to use on the air, but no.
Yeah.
Word before no. He's like, I don't even know if this kid is going to be on this team in a year in this new world. And then he went on to say there was one kid that he said he would give his jersey to, or his two sons if they went to USC. And that's it. He goes, in this new modern world, I am not giving up my retired number just so you can try to get a kid who may stay for 3 months.
Yeah. I think they should have to honor the jersey, but not retire the number, right? But once you've retired the number, okay. And I know we're never supposed to say anything nice about guys from Texas, but Tommy Novus wore 60, and they asked him if he wanted to retire it, and he said, no, that number needs to be out there playing. Mm-hmm. And I always respected that.
Yeah.
Like A&M didn't retire Johnny Manziel's number. They didn't retire John David.
Yeah.
So, but honored it. Put out the jersey. And we're already to the point where you have to put two numbers. Two guys might have the same number.
Yeah.
So you run out of numbers. Honor the jersey. Don't retire the number.
I like Matt's thinking though. Like
if you gave him the honor, don't take it back.
Yeah. And also, like, if this guy's not going to be synonymous with this university, like if he hasn't done enough, then no. If it's not a long-term project, no, we're not going to give up that number. Thank you, Obi.
All right. Jason House sending us
recommendations.
Restaurant recommendations.
We've got a place in mind. When we come back here on TexAgs Live, we'll talk a little track and field, followed by a little women's basketball, followed by Conor O'Gara. That and more is TexAgs. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Time to do a little track and field talk brought to you by our friends at the Brazos Running Company and MasonHay.com. From running shoes to Aggie pajamas, this Aggie family's got you covered. Visit Brazos Running Company in Century Square. Shop MasonHay.com. All right, we've got the Texas A&M track and field wrapping up a very impressive indoor season, outdoor season about to begin. We are now joined by Coach Joe Sarra. How are you, sir? Been a minute.
Yeah.
Good to see you. And Lily Carlson, freshman phenom. Hello.
Hello.
And, okay, so Sasha Solovev. Did I say it right? Because you told me something differently earlier.
It was right.
How do you say it?
Solovev.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to keep it with mine. Joe, just give me a little bit brief intro on these two. I mean, we've talked about Sasha for a long time. Lily's had such a great year. Just a freshman and already breaking some records. Just give me a little bit of a preview of them.
Yeah, so Sasha's in his second year here at Texas A&M. He came to us straight from Russia. Wanted to come to grad school here. So last year, 2025, NCAA outdoor champion, SEC outdoor champion. Big time guy for us. Has been for the last 2 years here. Got second at the most recent NCAA indoor championships. Lily comes to us. She went to school in Pennsylvania, recruited out of Pennsylvania, but she's actually Austrian. She's got dual citizenship. Her mom's from here, her dad's from Austria. So obviously a great get for us this year. Yeah, as a freshman.
Absolutely. I'd like to ask you both how you ended up at A&M, what went into the process. Lily, you start us off. How'd you end up at Texas A&M?
Well, the biggest decision, the factor was Joe, and I had met him at a national meet in high school. And then he's good friends with my club coach, so he coached me at a camp. And that just made like a big impact. Like that was an important part of my decision. So then I came, visited here, loved it, like loved the facilities, environment, the culture of Texas, and yeah.
And for you, Sasha?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same situation. I came here because of Joe. We talked a lot before I came here, so I just was connection, I think. So that's why I'm here, and I'm glad to be part of this team.
What's your approach when recruiting? I mean, I from what I know of you, you seem like you're just going to be you, and you're going to develop a relationship and take it from there.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's exactly what we're going to do. As Texas A&M, we're going to attract the best of the best, right? And so everybody that we talk to is going to be really, really good. They've got to fit, and they've got to be somebody that I want to work with for a couple of years, that I believe that can get it done at the highest level like these two young people did and have done. And so, yeah, it's just somebody that you think is going to upstand the morals and the values of Texas A&M and what this school represents as a whole. And then people that you want to be around every day that know that love pole vault and are going to and love track and field and want to do it every single day, whether it's a good day or a bad day, right? So that's what we really want.
What is your takeaway from the indoor championships?
Yeah, I think we left some things on the table, right? You always feel that way, right? We got 6th on the men's side, we got 19th on the women's side, and that wasn't a good representation of what our team was as a whole. These two obviously did a fantastic job for where they came in, ranked and coming into the meet, but it's always going to be that way. There's going to be a bag of thirds to where we feel like we could have done a little bit more on some certain areas, but moving on towards outdoor and getting some real track going on.
Well, I mean, in last year it was such a good year that I'm sure that's in the back of your mind as indoors done and you move towards the outdoor.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, like we bring back a big nucleus of what that team was last year, and the expectation is that here. Right, is to win the national championship. And so anytime that we don't get that done, we are disappointed. But like we said, we gave it a good shot. We had a good nucleus at the meet. The indoor national meet's a hard meet to make. It's way different than outdoor. People go all over the country and get these marks. And, you have to be in the top 16. If it's a little bit like last year, Sam Whitmarsh, who's the outdoor NCAA champion in the 800, doesn't make the indoor meet.
Right.
It's a little bit different of a meet to make. So, and our teams are always going to be geared towards being really good in the outdoor season. So,
Lily, for you, are you paying attention to records? Like, I mean, you keep breaking your own records. So, are you paying attention to it? Are you what is your mindset, and where does that come from?
I mean, it's in the back of my mind, but it's not like the biggest focus. Like when I pole vault, I'm just having fun, trying to execute the technique, trying to clear the next bar, and I don't really think so much about what the height is at. And it helps when most of it is in meters. because I'm like, okay, like 445, 451. I don't know what that is, but I'm just going
to go
work to clear it. So, yeah.
She's just a freshman, so there's a lot still ahead.
Oh, we hope so. Yeah, we think so. So yeah, no, things are looking up. Yeah, for sure.
And Sasha, for you had a great weekend as well. Talk about your mindset, how you prepare.
Yeah, for me, the main idea is to focus on my mentality, health. So I just try to focus on my technique stuff, and that's it. Because when the bar is rising, it's just difficult to focus. It's just difficult to keep it under your control. So it's only one thing that I try to do is just focus on my technique.
How does it work? Is it a collaboration? How you figure out what you're going to test at a meet? Like, how do you all kind of come up with the numbers? Like, he was at 5.8, I think is what it was, his clearance. Is it you've tested it over time, and then you at the big event you kind of go for it?
Yeah, I think we go into a plan. I think especially for somebody like Sasha, who's a seasoned veteran who has a plan of where he needs to finish. Lily, it's let's jump every bar right now, right? Sasha, we go into it. We talk about, hey, we're going to jump at these certain bars on the progression, and you hope as over time, pole vaulter can use, like Lily used probably about 4 different poles within the competition. Sasha only used 2 this time, but sometimes use more, and a lot of that dictates what heights you jump at and how high you can jump on a certain day. And so if we know that he's going up to a certain pole, we may go to a certain height and skip to a certain height, or if the competition, how many guys are left and who makes what bar on an attempt dictates a lot of what bars we jump at during the meet.
Excuse the ignorance, but indoor versus outdoor, I understand when it comes to some of the other events. How does it change for pole vaulting?
Well, 2 things. The runways are a lot different indoors. The runways are built up, these raised runways that are built, they're kind of bouncy and fast. Outdoors, it's just a flat track, but you get some wind behind you, right? Or you may get some wind crossing or coming in your face, and that dictates a lot. Just for instance, at the regional meet last year, Sasha was having to deal with a pretty significant headwind. That's tough to deal with when you're trying to drop a 17-foot pole into the box.
Right.
There's a lot of different factors outdoors that create some challenges or create some advantages. If you get a little wind to your back, you get a little faster on a day. Might be able to go to a stiffer pole that you can jump a little bit higher on. So,
Lily, how do you transition now to outdoor, like mindset / work? How does this kind of start changing for you?
Well, the big thing with jumping, like we start to jump outdoors, so we're kind of like exposed to the elements to get used to that. And for my mindset, I don't know, like I think outdoors is a little more fun. Like it's nice to be in the sun, you're feeling good, you have higher energy. So it's just, more fun, exciting, and yeah.
It looks like she approaches everything the same mindset, because I'm just going to be Sasha's a little different, right? Can you kind of describe the personalities of how both very effective, both record setters, but they go about it with a little bit different, maybe a younger approach, if you will, that's very successful?
Yeah, no, I think, and if you spend enough time around Sasha, you'll know he's a giant 5-year-old. But his mindset during pole vaulting and during his training is very serious. He takes it extremely seriously. He's gotten to a point to where he's probably failed a little bit in his lifetime, right, on the runway, and so it's his tools are a little bit more sharp than Lily's are, right? So his mindset's a little bit more sharp. Not to say Lily's isn't, but it's a little more carefree, right? Sasha has a very selective goal in mind, and he's going to execute on it. He's going to take it very seriously within the moment, and so their mindset outside of pole vault is very similar, right? But within pole vault, Sasha's a little bit more. It's a targeted attack. It's a more serious, but doesn't mean Lily doesn't take her craft seriously. It's just a little bit more carefree.
It's a little more carefree approach. Sasha, he mentioned something there that caught my attention. You've had some struggles in the past. How has that molded you? We all, in everything we do in life, we have the ups and downs. How have some of the downs shaped who you are now?
The main idea in this kind of situations is just need to keep it on. So don't stop, believe in you, and execute what do you need to do. That's it. So for me sometimes it might be tough when you have some problems with your shape and if you injure it. So I just do what I need to do. I trust my coach, I believe in myself, and I just try to do my best every time.
What do you do to have fun away? from pole vaulting? Like, what are you, a movie guy? Are you hanging with the friends? What do you do? And Lily, I'm going to get to you too. I want to know.
I watch anime.
Okay.
A lot.
A lot of anime. Okay.
So yeah, I think
is that popular on the team?
Yeah, it's popular. Yeah, I think it's popular. Yeah. So yeah, I watch anime. It's the main motivation for me, and yeah, I'm definitely
that's
anime
your
guy.
Yeah. Lily, what are you into?
For me, I really like the outdoors.
Yeah.
So I like going hiking and going camping, and yeah, like anything outdoors. If it's just going outside and reading a book or something, I really enjoy.
In such an individual sport, Joe, how important is locker room chemistry? Take it from there.
No, yeah, it's extremely important. I think both within the track team and then within the event group, I think it's extremely important. We're very keen on that here at Texas A&M. We're trying to find the right nucleus to be able to have the Ahmads who can go across every event group and really galvanize some people. You know, and then within the event group, I think building a culture within that is very, very, very important. And having the right people who you want to come to work with every single day, right, who hold you accountable. I think Sasha can look across the track at JQ, and JQ is going to give him a look of like, hey, let's go.
Right.
Let's get this thing done. Right. You know, I think that is very important. Right when Lily was jumping, you had Henry on the line. You had Sophia right there. You had a bunch of people that are pulling the rope in the same direction. So I think it's extremely important to have people that you want to be around every day that hold you accountable, that can hold you to a higher standard. I think that's what's great about Texas A&M. We don't just have people in one event group that's really, really good. We have people across the board that's really, really good. And so that keeps you like, oh, I've got to keep my game up all the time. So I think it's really important.
Sasha, just take me through the national championship and just what that meant to you going through it, being a part of it, and now also having that in the backdrop of what you're trying to do this year.
Yeah. As for me, I just feel the support of my teammates because I have no idea how it works in different universities, but here in Texas A&M, I feel that our team is kind of more. I think it's more like a family. So I get along with all my teammates. So we try to cheer everything on and we support each other. And of course, I feel it, and I think that every member in our group feel it too, because it's much easier to get through this like stress, like competition, when you're not alone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lily, for you, I mean, you came here to win a national championship, right? You've got some work to do, right?
Yeah. I mean, so like the NCAA meet meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
I didn't perform as good as I wanted to at SECs. So to have that opportunity to come back and PR at one of the biggest meets was really awesome. And to have my team be there and supporting me even through it, even after SECs like continuing to support me and push me to do more was pretty awesome, incredible.
One of the things that Coach Henry tells me is like in the SEC, it's sometimes harder than the national championship because it's just a different animal with all those schools, right?
Yeah, especially the pressure, right? I think you can feel, it's tangible, right, the difference at the SEC meet versus even the NCAA meet. Because it's the team title's on the line and everybody has their whole squad there. And so you have it's really loud in there, especially indoor meet, but you have a lot of pride going on. And so it's just as hard to make the SEC final as it is to make the NCAA final in most events on the track, especially. So yeah, that pressure cooker is way bigger, I think, than NCAA's. I think almost getting NCAA's is a little bit of a relief sometimes. It's like this one's a little bit easier for us, but no, yeah, it's definitely a big meet.
As you guys transition to the outdoor season, feel pretty good based on what you've seen so far? Yeah, no, we pick up a lot of pieces. In our recruiting that this year, we did recruit a bunch of people that were outdoor only, eligibility-wise. And at Texas A&M, we're always going to do some outdoor events. Like we're going to throw the javelin. So we pick up two big guys in Sam Hankins and Zaza Namdi coming in the javelin. We pick up the Fairchild sisters as we come to the outdoor season for javelin. We start to run a good 4x1. We have some JQ gets to express what he can do in the 400 hurdles. We know we really look forward to what we can do
on and off the track in the outdoor season for sure.
What's the schedule? What's the next big event?
Yeah, so we kick off our season this weekend at UTSA.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a high school meet about 2 weeks ago that had about 2,500 athletes at it, about 213 schools. That was really, really fun to put on. And then for UTSA this week, we go to a group goes to Raleigh Relays next weekend. And then we in about 2 weeks from now, we go to LSU. So things are rolling.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Joe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Lily, Sasha, good luck to you. Hope to see you again, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with Joni Taylor, talk a little Aggie women's basketball as they start their tournament hopes here on Thursday. Right now, we're talking about Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investments. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA all on staff. They take their credentials seriously because they do matter, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel great about. What you need to do is go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. And we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's talk some Aggie women's basketball. They're the number 1 seed in the WBIT tournament. Home court advantage at Reed Arena on Thursday. Let's talk about it with our guest, Joni Taylor, on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Joni, good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, David?
I'm great. I'm great. So we were talking in the first segment a little bit about men's basketball being such a resilient team and persevering. And I would say that fits with your squad. When you think about the team you put together, how you all handle the ups and downs of the season, would you agree with my assessment as a team that just finds a way to persevere and be resilient?
Absolutely. It's what we've talked about all year long. The resolve they have, the ability to look past outcomes and continue to have fresh eyes to see what's possible. It's just been incredible. I said it at one point after a game, if you are looking to hire leaders, then you come to our locker room. Like, the way they handle themselves is extremely impressive. And we've got to turn around and do it again. I'll be honest, Sunday was really, really disappointing for us. We wanted to be playing in March Madness and NCAA Tournament on the biggest stage, and that's not the news that we got. And so once again, we're going to have to bow our back, have fresh eyes, and figure out a way to show up and do what we've done all year long in front of our home crowd. We're so grateful for this university, for this athletic department, to give us an opportunity to put in a bid to host the WBIT. We don't take for granted the people that have to come and set up the facility and work the concession stands and do parking. We appreciate all of that, and so we want to come out Thursday and have another opportunity to play in front of our fans and go win the WBIT.
Knowing you the way I do and this team, I believe you have framed it as an opportunity, not a consolation. Am I correct in that assessment?
Absolutely. We talk about there's news and there's truth. We got news Sunday, but news and truth aren't always one and the same. And so we've got to continue doing what we've done all year long, which is model what is true and use the gifts that God gave us to go out and continue to play together, play for each other. Everybody's playing for something. And for us, the only way to prove to ourselves, not to anybody else, but to prove to ourselves that we should have been in the NCAA tournament is to raise a banner in the WBIT. And so that's what our intention has to be. And that's what our hearts and minds have to be focused on.
Isn't this what you do too? Like you're hooping, you're playing in March, regardless of the setting. More basketball, more time together, more opportunities for these older players to play one last time, if not several more times. This is what you do it for.
This is what you do it for. This is a really special team. We want to continue to spend time with each other and play basketball together. And I think that's what is going to continue to let us play through March. There's a lot of teams that are sitting home right now. There's a lot of players whose college basketball careers are over, and that's not our story. And so we're grateful for the opportunity.
Has this season been maybe one of the most rewarding seasons for you as a head coach?
Absolutely. I tell our players all the time, like, on the other side of hard is where most of the great things happen. I didn't get better by laying out on the beach getting a tan. I got better when I was climbing a mountain and going through the valley, right? Because on the other side of that, when I got through it, there was something that was revealed. I grew through that. I learned through that. I was challenged through that. I was stretched through that. What a great opportunity that these young ladies have had this year to go through a hard, hard valley and then be able to have some peaks as well. And so this is something that they're going to be able to call on and pull from and draw from for the rest of their lives, because it doesn't stop. Hard just looks different. Hard is work, hard is marriage, hard is kids, hard is finances. Hard never stops. And so for them to have sport as a way to teach them how to battle hard and to overcome hard is a blessing.
What's the latest with Fats? How's she doing?
She's doing great. She is doing great. We had got the best possible outcome we could, in that it was a bone bruise and she had some minor swelling. We also were really fortunate that our spring break always falls after the SEC tournament, and so we gave our players some time off. She stayed here and rehabbed like a mad woman. Stacy Kissel stayed here over her spring break, and so did Yolanda Berryhill, our trainer and our strength and conditioning coach. She's running. She's getting some shots up. We haven't put her in a practice yet just to save her, but we're phasing her back in, and so she looks really good and she feels good.
Moving ahead, look, not that I'm trying to look at next season and beyond that, Joni, because I certainly want to focus on McNeese here in a second, but just what can this season be, regardless of what happens over the next couple of weeks, just for the future of Aggie women's basketball?
I think it shows the world, and it shows young prospects or transfers that we're different. We value basketball. We value competing. We want to win championships. We also are going to do it the right way. I think it shows you that you have players who come together for the right reason and play together and not selfishly. I think it shows you that you have a staff and coaches and support staff that are going to take care of you and that are going to love you and that are going to push you hard and coach you well. I think if you are a parent, it's who you want your daughters to be with. And so I think what we have been able to do this year, our players and our staff, just speaks to the culture that is not only in our program, but that is Texas A&M.
How has Nye grown? I mean, she was excellent when she got here, but how has she grown in your eyes as a teammate, as a player, as one of the leaders of your team?
Her talent speaks for itself. The only thing that I can say that she has gotten better at since she's been here is her three ball. And, you know, she spent a ton of time in the gym working on her shot. And Reagan Griffin, our grad assistant, has done a great job rebounding for her as she gets those shots up. And so the two of them have put in a ton of time, her getting up shots and him rebounding and shagging balls for her. Her three-point shot's gotten a lot better. That was something that she wanted to grow in her game. Everything else she brought with her. Nye is Nye. What is so impressive about her is the mental resolve and toughness that she's had. She's learned how to play with other people. She's learned how to run an offense, several offenses, and play an offense that fits a pro style. Our offense, we pride ourselves on running WNBA European-style action so that when our players who have an opportunity to get drafted or play overseas, the transition is not as difficult for them because it's the language that we use is the same language that they use professionally. And so I think we prepared her for when she leaves Texas A&M because she's going to play professionally somewhere.
What can you tell me about McNeese?
Oh, tough. McNeese won their conference. They lost one game, and that was in the conference tournament championship. So they were 8-9 points away from being in the NCAA tournament. So they're a team that's really tough. They're very stingy defensively. They are top 10 in the nation in almost every defensive category that you can name. They pride themselves on using their defense to turn into points offensively. They play really fast. So we're going to have to value the basketball. We're going to have to move the ball. The ball can't stick. They're small and they're quick and they cover ground quickly. Offensively, we have a huge size advantage. And so we've got to be really diligent about getting the ball inside. And when it goes inside, our bigs can't put it on the floor because they come get it quickly. We've got to have really good position inside and have no move needed scores. And what that means is I've caught the ball inside the paint so deep that I can just turn and score without having to use a dribble or make a move. So we call that no move needed. And so our bigs are going to have no move needed scores. Our guards are going to have their eyes inside and get the ball inside. And then when we penetrate offensively from the perimeter, it's got to be one dribble, pass it. If you dribble the ball 2 or 3 times, those guards are so quick. They cover ground so well. They're going to take it from us. And so we'll get to work on them today in the film room at 2:30 and prepare for a team that has a chip on their shoulder because they believe they should be playing in the NCAA tournament as well. The WBIT is really, really loaded. You're looking at teams who either are like us, they were the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament as a Power 4 school, or they are mid-major schools who probably won their conference outright and then just lost in the championship game. And so these are teams that are used to winning, they expect to win, and they're not going to have any fear walking in here.
Joni, taking on teams with a chip on their shoulders, dangerous, especially in a tournament setting. But when both of you have a chip on your shoulder, both of you expected to be playing in the NCAA tournament, that should make for a great matchup at Reed Arena.
It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a defensive contest for sure. Whoever takes care of the basketball and has more paint points, I believe, is going to win this game and has the most resolve and calm emotions.
Joni, I appreciate it. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Joni Taylor there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate her time here on the program. We'll hit a break. My guy, Connor O'Gara, going to break things. We'll talk a little college basketball, a lot of Aggie football and SEC football, that and more when we come back here on TexAgs Live. Right now, if your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, you need to check out the Association of Former Students that bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking about Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, The Gathering. They all welcome tens of thousands of guests. And there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. And they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. This includes title sponsorship, naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, and social media posts, and much, much more. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It is the Association of Former Students. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. We go to the Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our good friend Connor O'Gara talk all things college athletics, even lacrosse. Connor, good morning, buddy.
Lacrosse.
I'm just kidding. Just playing, man.
Look, I don't know if I have any lacrosse takes other than I don't mess with people that play lacrosse. It's much like how if you see somebody that has the cauliflower ear, you avoid them at all costs. Any sort of confrontations, you're going to lose. You're signing up for a losing battle. I think I feel the exact same way about lacrosse.
Lacrosse, and I think rugby players as well. There's just a vibe that they walk into a room with. You just don't mess with them.
Yeah, if you can tackle in space like that, I'm not messing with you. And look, I get that lacrosse is kind of associated with more of like an East Coast preppy type vibe. I think that's just wrong branding. I think there's a lot to be said for being able to do the things that they're able to do. And it's more of just like a combat and open space fear that I have of those people.
Tell me a little bit about the new podcast, the OG Kickoff podcast.
Yeah, so it's the same show, but in a sense, it is a new venture that we are doing. It is the same feed that we had when we had the Saturday Down South podcast. And so if you subscribe to that before, that's the good news, is you don't have to look very far to find us. You're already subscribed to it. But yeah, we are new on YouTube, the OG Kickoff on YouTube. And then we are also, on Instagram, all the places where you find social media as well. And we're doing a lot of the same things that we did with Saturday Down South podcast. We have an episode that just dropped today with Shane Beamer, wherein we talked about all things South Carolina. I know that was a very eventful time this year for Aggie fans that day at Kyle Field, and talked about just basically what didn't work for Shane Beamer this past season, wherein it was a disappointing year. But yeah, we're getting to do a lot of the same exact things. We're doing It Just Meant More, which is recapping classic SEC games. If you've ever listened to the Rewatchables or something like that on The Ringer, it's kind of like that, but for SEC football. And so we're going to be doing that as well 2 times a week. And we're doing 2 times a week through the NFL draft. And then we'll ramp up back again. We'll have 1 pod a week for like the next 10 weeks until SEC Media Days. And then we're pretty much in midseason form from there on.
Connor, is it, I don't know if weird is the right way to phrase it, but for you, you went to a Big Ten school who just won the national championship. Well, you've covered the SEC so long and you know it so well. Is there, I don't know if bias is what I want to say, but is there maybe a little bit, do you slant a little more SEC than your traditional, or does it kind of depend, and especially with the success the Big Ten's had recently?
I'd like to say that I call it like I see it. Okay. I'll be 100% transparent and say that when Indiana was doing unprecedented things on the gridiron this past year, yes, I wanted to see my alma mater win a national championship. When I was sitting there in the press box in Miami, what was it, like 2 months ago, and I am basically surrounded by, professional media members, my legs were numb the whole fourth quarter. I wanted to see Indiana win a national championship. I had some pinch myself moments on the field as confetti is falling. And so it was very hard for me to be able to look at that in a sort of an objective way, obviously, because look, they were 13-35 in the 4 years that I was there. They didn't sniff a bowl game. And it was not necessarily something that you had to worry about bias. It was apathy. And so I went into this job saying to people who found out what I did, look, I don't have a team. I can look at this from an objective viewpoint as much as possible. And I think I've been able to do that with the SEC. And I'd like to think that, even with how I've talked about IU football in the past, I've always been a realist with it. Going into the Rose Bowl, I'm like, guys, they're just trying to win a bowl game for the first time since 1991. Okay. Let's understand the historical context of this. And then of course, when they dominate Alabama in the fashion that they did, I did, let Alabama fans know, hey, I wasn't crazy for saying that IU was the better football team. That wasn't biased for me saying that. So yeah, it's difficult, but I do think that I try and look at this sport without bias, because I think ultimately that's what people want.
Look, this is probably not going to be popular with journalists, but I do believe, depending on the outlet you work for, it can, like, you can be, when I worked at the TV station in Houston, I would have to talk about the University of Texas with the same kind of energy and storylines and same, like, as I did for A&M and Baylor and the University of Houston, right? At TexAgs, I work at a fan site that, yes, I wear a journalist hat at times, but my attention is for A&M and my rooting interest is A&M. So it's different. I do believe you can separate the two. You don't have to just be one way, especially when you're writing or delivering content on air.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And if someone accuses me of being biased towards the SEC, I'd say, look, I can be as critical as anybody. I can tell you that this coach has been disappointing, or this team is better than you think that they are. And I do think that I've been able to look at this through a lens that understands history, but also understands that I am someone who watches these teams every single week. Like, if I'm coming from a place of bias, it's only because I'm sitting there every single Saturday watching YouTube TV, watching multi-view from 12 noon until 2 a.m. when usually I go to bed after a full day of college football and trying to decide what are the biggest storylines predominantly in the SEC. So if my bias is coming out of that place, then I would say I'm at least a little bit more well-researched and a little bit more I would say in depth than a lot more people are willing to get, because I'm the one that's going to be having that Kentucky Mississippi State game on. I'm the one that's going to dial into what Connor Wigman is doing on a given college football Saturday. Yes, I have not sold my Connor Wigman stock. I do still believe, and I think that Houston's one of these fun teams to watch in this upcoming season. But I do think that there are people that look at this sport through a different way, and they only want to look at it through their own team. I get that. I will probably never be that guy, even though IU just did what it did.
Connor, I want to talk A&M with you for a minute, but I'm going to set it up with a Nuñoism, which is, it is, but it isn't. Okay? So follow me here. I think it's a huge year for Coach Elko and what this program can be. It is, but it isn't, because there are so many question marks with a brand new offensive line, a new defensive line. Yes, Marcel Reed comes back, but you got a new receiving core in a way. Yes, you got Mario Craver, but we got to see how Horton's going to fit in, how Ashton Bethel-Roman takes a big step, how some of these freshmen. I think this could be a huge year for what this program's trying to be if they can find a way to get the 9 or 10 wins again. I think it shows that Coach Elko's of the elites, of the elite of the elites. And if they don't, it doesn't necessarily mean that because of all the things I just said. So I give you a long intro into this. How big of a year is it for A&M based on kind of what I set up there?
You're right. It is, but it isn't. It's a big year for the A&M narrative people who like to be able to say, well, this program is fraudulent. This program is just a byproduct of its schedule last year. If all of a sudden A&M is 6-6, then they'll point to that and say, see, this is a program that was being lifted by having some fortunate breaks in conference play last year. And I think that would take away from what this team was able to do. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be kind of the conversation surrounding A&M. Now, if this is a 9-3 team that is in the college football playoff hunt late into the season, if Marcel Reed takes another step, if this offensive line, which is experienced but in a much different way than last year because of the way that you've acquired that experience through the transfer portal, if all of a sudden that unit looks good, if a first-time play caller on the offensive side and Holman Wiggins looks good, then you're answering a lot of questions. And I think that's maybe the biggest thing for A&M is, can you answer those questions? Because Mike Elko looks like the adult in the room. He does. And if this is supposed to be a floor season in year 3, something we usually don't say for year 3 head coaches, then okay, then this is the type of year and the type of personnel that could showcase what that floor is, especially if the schedule is getting more difficult as people are projecting. So if all of a sudden A&M is sitting there with 9-3, with a 9-3 mark, and maybe they just miss out on the playoff, then I don't know that there are people that are trying to dunk on A&M and trying to dunk on the future of this program. To me, that would be a really good sign, and a sign that bigger and better things are ahead.
For A&M to reach that, to me, it's not that, and Billy and I did a segment on this yesterday, but I don't think that Marcel has to raise his game. I think he's got to raise his floor. Agree or disagree?
Agreed. And here's the two stats that I keep coming back to with Marcel Reed, because we did a draft. My co-host Will Ogburn and I did a draft for the OG Kickoff, wherein we each got to pick 5 quarterbacks for the 2026 season. And it's, surroundings impact that. It's not like just a schoolyard type draft. It is impacted by, hey, who are you throwing passes to? What kind of offensive line do you have? Who's your offensive play caller? All those things. Marcel Reed did not get picked. And the reason that I did not pick Marcel Reed in this draft is because this is someone who had the most turnover-worthy plays of any power conference quarterback. That's tough. He also had 17 turnover-worthy plays per PFF when he wasn't blitzed. So that's the issue right now, is you're seeing a guy that is easier to defend than he should be. And you would think with his skill set, with his ability to run, with his ability to scramble, that this would be a nightmare for 60 minutes. Now, what he needs to do this year is cut down on those mistakes. We saw those mistakes really prove costly down the stretch at the end of the season. And I think that there are people that if you looked at Marcel Reed as a limited passer, you were confirmed in that down the stretch. He has to be able to take that out of his game. It's not to say he needs to be a game manager, but he needs to be smarter in those spots, because too many times down the stretch, it felt like a liability when he was dropping back to pass. And if you're not even having to blitz that guy, then it's a little bit different, and you take away some of his running abilities by doing that. So I think that's a way of saying, as great as it was to see him get off to that start last year, he's firmly in the Heisman Trophy discussion. He's a guy that's got to show some real strides this year in some pretty notable areas.
All right, let's talk about his highs, though, because his highs to me were as good as anybody's out there. what he did at Notre Dame, over 400 yards, and the game-winning touchdown pass to Nate Borkacher, what he did at LSU when LSU was still semi-relevant, and they fired Brian Kelly immediately after. His highs, I don't expect to, in the second half against South Carolina. There's certain examples of what he can do at his best. Marcel Reed at his best. Does he get drafted in your top 10, top 5?
Yeah, his peak is up there. His peak is really, really good. And I think that there are a lot of deep quarterback conversations that are being had right now. And if you saw all those rankings of early top 10 quarterbacks in the country, I think there's a lot of disagreement there. Like I ended up ranking, I think like 18 guys I got to where I'm like, I could see one of these guys getting drafted. And that's why I got to Marcel Reed at that place, because his highs are really good. And you can't necessarily teach some of the things that he's able to do. And when he locks in and all of a sudden you feel like he is in rhythm, it's a special thing to see. And you saw against some pretty respected minds early on in the season, this is someone who can take over a game. And that's not necessarily something that every quarterback in college football has. And so it's just about, what does it look like quarter to quarter? What does it look like week to week with him? Because that consistency is the last step. It's showing up against an elite defense and showing, hey, I can be that dude over the course of 60 minutes. And you might think that you're taking one thing away or you're loading the box, and I'm beating you every which way. And that's the thing that I think he can add to his game this year, because you're right. The peaks are one of the top 10 quarterbacks in college football. But when your floor is as low as it was at times, I think it's enough for people to be able to sit back and question your abilities.
Just to clarify, was this draft of SEC quarterbacks or all of college football?
All of college football.
Gotcha.
All of college football. We're doing SEC, he's getting drafted. We're not at that place where he's outside of the top. If you're leaving him outside of the top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC, I'm like, all right, look, I get that the conference is pretty deep at the quarterback position, but that'd be downright disrespectful.
All right, let me close out with a Greg Sankey question. Our audience has their issues with Sankey, as many do, especially Texas getting into the SEC and that whole thing. But beyond that, I feel like when he says something, he doesn't just say things. There's hidden messages. There's, foreshadowing of what we might expect from all the comments we've seen over the last couple of weeks, about, take your ball and go home kind of thing, which then he kind of clarified he didn't mean it that way. Is he sending a message? Or is this just off season and we're just clamoring for information?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a reminder, if you're trying to get into Greg Sankey's brain and wonder why he makes the decisions that he does, remember that at the end of the day, he works for those presidents, he works for those athletic directors that are in the Southeastern Conference. Those are the people that he reports to. Much like Roger Goodell and how he works for the NFL owners, it's the same thing with Greg Sankey. So if you've got all of these important people in college athletics sitting down at a table and they're telling you one thing, hey, this is the way that we want to operate. We don't necessarily want to even the playing field in the way that Cody Campbell has talked about and has preached about. And we don't necessarily want to be in this place where it feels like everybody's on the same level. We've made these decisions. We've gotten to this level. We have this revenue coming in at a time when revenue has never been more important in the rev share era. And we need to make sure that we're doing everything with that in mind, and to make sure that we have the ability to be able to finance all of these sports and do all these things that we want to do in the SEC. He is working for those people. He is not working for the average casual fan that is sitting at home in Beaumont, Texas. Like, he's just not. And so he's working for those people specifically. And everything that he says and does, even down to the Charles Bediako case, is done with those people and their interests at mind. So I do think that he says a lot of these things that rub a lot of fans the wrong way. And honestly, I don't sit here and agree with everything Greg Sankey has to say. And when he hands out, essentially this propaganda last year talking about the SEC's strength and, strength of schedule, and he hands it out at the spring meetings, I think things like that backfire on him, and it makes him look actually a lot worse. But I do think that when you remember who he is working for, it makes everything else a little bit easier to understand. And the SEC doesn't necessarily feel like it has to cave, because it is at a really advantageous place in college athletics. I mean, 10 teams in the NCAA tournament in what was considered to be a down year for the conference, and you're still having 5 teams in the college football playoff. Those things matter, even if it's not necessarily, hey, you're dominating all of the big revenue sports in the way that you did in the first part of the 2020s.
Connor, great stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Connor O'Gara there on the Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Around Aggieland next here on TexAgs Live. Anybody a Dave Matthews fan here? You?
Yeah.
Yeah or no? You're just saying that?
I've heard of Dave Matthews.
You don't know who that is.
I can't think of a song off the top of that.
Nick, Dave Matthews fan?
Yeah, he's got a few good ones.
He's all right. Whatever. He's got a station, I think, on Sirius, or he did. Dave Matthews, man. That's an original name. All right, Justin at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Can you tell the people what's on TexAgs today?
Well, what's on TexAgs today is a lot of things, and it is a reminder for everybody to become a TexAgs premium subscriber because you're going to get a bunch of content, and I'll start it with baseball, which is tonight against Texas State, hosting here at Bluebell Park, so there's going to be coverage around that. Also, discussion over the past weekend against Oklahoma from Ryan Broniger and Cade Bickham. We got football presser with Mike Elko, Holman Wiggins, and Lyle Hemphill speaking about the team. And then obviously we got David and the gang going to Oklahoma City for March Madness for Texas A&M against St. Mary's. So we're going to see some on-site presence there. So a lot on TexAgs today.
Thank you very much. Join us for the 4th annual Drive with On-Ramp fundraiser at Topgolf in Bryan, March 28th, 4 to 7. Tickets are $50. Includes a 3-hour play, dinner, and mini golf with all proceeds helping gift reliable vehicles to more hardworking Brazos Valley families in need. For more information or to buy tickets, go to onramptx.org. Let me talk to you about my friends at Heritage Films. They want to preserve more than just memories. They want to transfer values across generations, but basically they do. They capture your family story, your family business's story, and they want to share that with the future generations and the generations that are going to inherit it. They specialize in understanding all operations of life, from your agriculture to your farming to just your business, right? And they want to feature stunning footage of working lands, equipment, and much, much more. Farm and Ranch Films exist because of TexAgs community and their input. What you need to do is call them up and check them out. 713-893-8341 or go to yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. Keep this song going for a second. This is definitely on Nick's playlist, right? Sounds like somebody who bites
exactly
bats heads off on stage. Who is it?
No, it's not good enough for me.
Really?
The Scorpions, right? That's who does it. That
The
is?
Scorpions? Isn't that like a gang from the 1950s?
I'm so wrong, and I'm going to get flamed in the text. But
do you think people actually listen to this song? Who is it? Is it somebody I should know? Who is it? Come on, tell me. I'm sure Justin Lanham knows who it is. This TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in
Dio.
Pardon?
Thank you, Jeanette.
Dio.
Yeah. Metal legend.
Dio is a band? That's for real?
Yes.
Like, am I going to get flamed for not knowing that
Rainbow
Dio's
in
a
the
thing?
Dark.
But you knew who they were too?
No, I didn't. I had to look it up.
Dio? with an S is God. Is that what they're trying to say? Dios?
I don't know.
All right, let's just move on. This is not going anywhere good. We go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We talked to Justin Lanham. He is a basketball expert. He's our friend. He's an Aggie, and he's here on the program. Justin, what's up, buddy?
What is up, David? How's everything going?
Are you a big Dio fan?
I know the song. I don't know that I know the band, but I like the music. I like the intro.
Yeah, I don't. All right, let's talk a little Aggie basketball, shall we? So, I don't know. Let's go back to. I'm going to go back in different parts, okay? And you tell me what you were thinking about this season at different parts, okay? 54 weeks ago, right before they hired Bucky, what would you have thought was going to happen? October, what would you have thought was going to happen? Mbako goes down. What would you have thought would have happened? And just kind of go through all these parts and now where we are. Kind of take me through what you thought was going to happen and how maybe these things up and down changed.
Yeah, it was kind of a roller coaster. When they hired Bucky, I think my first thought was kind of an innovative hire. I thought it was a great hire in the sense of you get a younger coach, does things a little bit different, especially the style of play that we had seen the last few years. It was going to be a different type of play, a different type of style. So I was excited about that. Then you start piecing some guys together, and I see Rylan Griffin come in, I see Mbako come in, you see Pop Isaacs, and it's just kind of you see the pieces getting put together. You get AG, in there, and so you start to see these things, and it's hard to probably if you're not the coach, it's probably hard to see like how do all these pieces fit together. So my first initial reaction there was, man, how are all these pieces going to fit together? And so that was my first initial reaction. Then you get to October, you start hearing a little bit more, understanding, probably talking to some people, what practices have been like, some guys that have stepped up. So there was a little positivity there. And, you have some firepower. You have a guy like AG. You have a guy like Rylan Griffin that has experience. You have a Pop Isaacs that you're like, can he come back off of the injury? McKenzie, same thing, what's he going to be like? And so kind of excited, but still don't know, right? Then, you get into that first part of the season and without McKenzie, then McKenzie's starting to get, put back into the lineup. You have the lopsided loss versus Oklahoma State. And I forgot how Olin put it in his article, but I read his article and basically said you couldn't predict the NCAA tournament with a something telescope. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I thought that was great. I thought that was the best way to put it. There was no way in my mind at that point in the season that anybody would have sat there and said, I think this is a tournament team. And then McKenzie goes down, and he's done for the season. And so, again, you feel like you take another, just stab to the chest. And these guys just continue to be resilient. And then you obviously get into conference play, and you start winning games. And sure, people are going to say it was against lesser opponents, but I'll take any wins in SEC play. And so, you start to, again, trend positive. And so to me, it was just like this roller coaster. I'm just imagining myself on the Texas Giant, just going up and down on this roller coaster ride. And then, there was obviously at some point you feel like you stabilized, and it was that first part of the SEC play. You felt like there was some stableness within this roster and this team. And then get into the back half of it, David, and you obviously start playing a little bit better teams. You get against the Floridas, you get against some of the Alabamas and some of these other teams. And so you took your lumps. But the great thing about it, too, that allowed me to stay positive through it all is they took their lumps, but besides the Florida thumping, there wasn't just many thumpings at that. Like they were staying in games. They were still right there. And so allowed this team to stay positive. And I think Bucky said it one time in a press conference, like he thanked the press, too. Like, obviously the press has to be neutral on that. They can't, play favoritism there, but they allowed this team to grow throughout the season without just hammering this team and saying, oh, they're terrible and they don't have a chance. They allowed this team to have a chance. And so it's really cool to see this team playing in March.
By the way, earlier I misidentified. It wasn't Dave Matthews. It was Blues Traveler, so it wasn't Satellite Guy. God, I'm just terrible when it comes to music from 1994 that wasn't rap. All right, Justin, let's talk about this matchup, because I see, and by the way, I fall guilty of this sometimes too, a little fear because of the size and the pace of play. I also see it, talking about St. Mary's, I also see it as an opportunity for A&M. Like, okay, that's how they play, but this is how we play. And if we can take them to the deep water, they're not going to be able to hang. Am I, at least from a coaching perspective, the way you think Bucky might look at that, is that probably what they're trying to do?
You know, I've always said this, David. I think sometimes teams can get too locked in and preparing for an opponent and not focusing on what they do well. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at, in the sense of, you know, Bucky and this whole entire team, the staff, has got to say, hey, yeah, sure, St. Mary's, you can give them props and recognize and realize that they have strengths, and you've got to try to offset that. But you also have strengths. And these are two totally different conferences that these teams are coming from. And we know that within conferences, there's a little bit different style of play. Like, I feel like the Big 12 is athletic, but they're also really physical. And the SEC, I think, is the most athletic conference out there. And so, you know, you've got to bring that into this matchup. And sure, you're going to go up against some size. Like, they have two big 7-footers, and sometimes they play them at the same time, and it looks like twin towers out there. But to me, like, I'm just thinking ahead of it. I'm like, well, let's play fast against these guys. Those guys are not going to want to run up and down the floor when those two bigs are in. And so that's what Bucky does. They play fast. They play fast in transition. If they can get a stop, they're going to go. And even whenever they don't get a stop, they're still going to play fast. And so I think that's what you got to do. You got to try to offset what they do well. And so, yeah, you can sit here and look at this team and say, hey, they have some size. They control the boards. And you can sit there and say, man, that's kind of scary. But you can also say, hey, how do we take advantage of that? And again, it's playing fast, the neutralizer of hitting shots that this team is capable of doing. Sure, have they struggled a little bit from outside lately? Obviously, in the last game they played in the conference tournament, absolutely. But I do like the fact that they're getting a lot more practices under their belt, that they did exit the SEC tournament early. They were able to get a little bit of rest. You're able to prepare for this opponent a little bit more, in the sense of more practices. And I think Bucky said it. They needed it. You know, during this last stretch of SEC play, they probably had to save their legs a little bit, so they weren't getting as many practice reps. So I do think this team is going to be ready for it. I do think, to your point, I do think Bucky is going to try to do what they do and not worry as much about what St. Mary's does.
Talking to Justin Lanham here on TexAgs Live. Justin, do you think the struggles we've seen the second half of the season are more attributed to the types of teams, the rankings of these teams, or something fundamentally not working within the A&M structure right now?
I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely think that the three ball was not falling at times. I think, especially if you go back to the OU game, turning the ball over too much. It's so funny. I think sometimes people try to make the game of basketball a little bit more complicated than it is. But if you take care of the ball, and obviously this sounds dumb, but you score the ball, right? You take care of it, and you're able to put the ball in the basket. Like, you're going to give yourself a really good chance to win. And when you're not shooting well from outside and you're taking a ton of threes, and then you're also turning it over and giving them more opportunities, I think that's a recipe for disaster. And so I think there's been times, obviously, yes, to your point, have they played better teams? Did that ramp up towards the end of the year? Absolutely. I think that was part of it. But I also think there's a part that you have to do some self-reflecting and say, like, what did we not do well? And I think turning the ball over a little bit, some knucklehead plays, even in the LSU win. Like, I've always said this, like, sometimes you learn more in your wins because you can go back and be a little bit harder on yourselves than you are in your losses, right? Because you can do really good things in a loss, and you can do really some bad things in a win, and learn from both of those. But I think sometimes people just only want to look at the loss and say, oh, how bad we played. Well, you can still play bad in a win. Like, I felt like in the LSU game there at the end of the year, glad that they got the win, but also there were some things down the stretch that you're like, man, we got to shore that up. We got to fix that, because if we don't, you're going to get burned, on that in the tournament.
Justin, if I said to you, all right, we need this guy to give you his apex performance, right? Like, we know AG's going to give you what he gives you, right? I feel like that's going to happen. But then you've got these other guys that sometimes they give it to you, right? Rylan has his days. Ruben hasn't had as many recently, but he can give you. If I said, who's got to be that second and third guy, who would you say?
Yeah, I think second for sure for me is Rylan, just because you look back at the history, just recent history, right? You've seen whenever Rylan has really good games, he creeps into that 20-point, 22, 23-point game. This team is different. This team feels like they're firing on all cylinders whenever he's playing well, whenever he's aggressive. If he can stay the course right there and continue to be aggressive, I think that gives A&M a really good chance to win. And then also, I think that third one can kind of be a couple of different people, but I'll say when Ruben has the ability to knock down threes, and he does knock down threes, and then you've got Rylan being aggressive, and then you've got AG inside doing what he does, they're really hard to beat, because Rylan can get to the basket some. He can find his mid-range game. He can also he likes to knock down shots from outside, and then you've got the triple the triple from outside from Ruben, and then you kind of have that inside-out game with AG. That's a dangerous combo. And then we know that we're going to sprinkle in a little bit here from Marcus Hill, and maybe Jakari Lane can find his way, and Pop Isaacs, when Pop gets going, he always finds, I feel like, his scoring in bunches. Like, he's a guy that, he'll hit 2 threes back to back, and maybe his only output for the game is 10 points, but it feels like with him, it's like in crucial points of the game where he'll find 6 points, just boom, boom. And I think that's huge. So to answer your question, I think it's got to be AG, Rylan, and Ruben. And but I want you to know and how I feel on this. I think that third guy, it can be a couple of different guys. I think it could be a Marcus Hill getting to the basket. I want to make this point, David. I did watch a little bit of St. Mary's. I watched them against Santa Clara, and I watched them against Gonzaga. And they do have some guys that obviously can go. The Mikey Lewis kid, he reminds me a lot of Marcus Hill. The way that he's able to kind of get to the basket, he wants to get to the basket, he wants to finish around the rim. And so just the little bit that I watch of these guys, just trying to see what A&M's stacked up against, I just noticed a few of those things. And the Mikey Lewis kid is a guy that I think is somebody that you got to watch out for, because I think I think he could potentially have a good game.
Well, and this is a team that shoots the 3-ball well and defends the 3-ball well. They've got big guys, right? So we talk about this pace of play and the way A&M has to win, but like, how do you take them out of their game? Is it only by being the aggressor, or are there other ways?
Yeah, I think the pressure, right? I think that's what A&M is built on. Look, A&M's not going to change what they've done for all these games, all through SEC play, all through non-conference. They're going to be who they are, so we know what they're going to do. They're going to continue to press. They're going to continue to put pressure on you, and I don't think St. Mary's has seen that. Like the type of style that A&M is about to play against them. Like, everybody wants to talk about, yeah, St. Mary's is great, and obviously they're the favorite and all this stuff, but I don't think St. Mary's has played that type of athleticism. I don't think they've played that type of style. I also don't think that St. Mary's has as deep of a bench as some of these other places or teams that A&M's played. And so I think that's going to play a factor. You're talking about one game. Those guys have got to suck it up, and so they're probably not going to go as deep into their bench. Talking about St. Mary's, they're probably not going to go as deep into their bench. But one other thing that I noticed, David, is this team, St. Mary's, they're not very senior heavy. They're not very. They're not an old team. They've got a lot of freshmen playing big minutes. They've got a lot of sophomores playing big minutes. So I think that's another area that A&M's going to have to lean on, is just the maturity that they have, the physicality, getting under your chin and pressing you and pressuring you. Hopefully this little rest, this little break that they've gotten, this is obviously going to be the longest stretch that they've got in a long, long time. And so I think that hopefully we're going to see some fresh legs. We're going to see guys really pressuring the ball, turning them over, and making them feel something that they haven't ever felt this season.
I want to close up with this thought here, Justin, because I think something that we saw early on was what you alluded to a moment ago of when teams played A&M, they weren't used to this system. By the last 6 minutes of the game, they were huffing and puffing, especially teams that weren't deep. We didn't see that as much as the year went on. Is that potentially the recipe here is, because they haven't been able to replicate that pace of play, that style of basketball, that when it hits you in the face, it really hits you in the face?
Oh, 100%. It's like anything, right? A lot of people can do something for a short amount of time, but when you're doing it for a long, extended period of time, and they just keep coming at you, and they keep coming at you, and you feel like you're drowning almost. I mean, that's I think if Bucky was able to say like what he wants the other team to feel like, I would think he would want them to feel like that they feel like they're drowning in this press, that they can't catch a breath, that they can't even look up. They don't have time to look up. They don't even have time to look for where they're passing to because they have so much pressure on them. And I think we saw that dialed back. I don't know if that was strategic or not. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the answer to it. But, like, at the end of the season, I don't know if it was strategic in the sense of we kind of pulled back to save our legs a little bit, or if our guys were just a little bit tired. I don't know the answer there. But I do feel like when you get into tournament play, it's a live or die. It's like either you advance or you don't, or you go home and you don't get to play again until next year. And so I think this team, we're going to see a little bit of that just amped up even more than what we've seen in a long time. Like we saw it at the beginning of the year. We saw it against some of those lesser non-conference opponents. We saw it at the beginning of SEC play. And then as we got into conference play, I think that got scaled back a little bit. And again, I'm not naive to realize that a lot of that too could have been the teams, like you said, the rankings. There were teams that were highly ranked that are good opponents. So I think that could play a factor into it as well. But I definitely think that you're going to see a different style, not a different style, but a different just effort this first game against St. Mary's.
Justin, I appreciate it, buddy. I enjoyed our time at the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. Hope we can do it again.
I would love it, David. I appreciate you, man.
See you, bro. That's Justin Lanham there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Talk to Gerrod Chadwell and Sky Sudberry next here on the program. Right now, we're talking about Guarantee Bank and Trust. They've been in Texas for a long time, since 1913 to be exact. They have over a century of experience taking care of Texans and taking care of people. They are your neighborhood bank. They're your community bank. They're right around the corner. They got 3 great locations in Texas, in Bryan College Station, but they're all over Texas, 33 locations in Texas, East Texas, DFW, Houston, Central Texas, and as I mentioned, 3 here in the Brazos Valley in the Bryan College Station area. Whether you're in Texas, wherever you are, they're going to take amazing care of you. When you walk into their lobby and you talk to them, you're going to feel like you're just talking to your buddies. You know why? Because they're all over town. They are your buddies. They're deeply invested in this community. They're deeply invested in your growth. They want to make sure that they take care of you from financial education to home ownership to local business and nonprofit efforts right here in our very own communities. Make sure you say hi to the market president, Brandon Sears, who's a great Aggie and a good dude. He's fantastic. You got Jared Salvato out there. Love him as well. Every decision is shaped by helping you, the Bryan College Station area, grow. They want to make sure that you know that they are going to take care of you with relationship-focused banking. What you need to do is check out their website, www.gnty.com. That is gnty.com. It is Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Today's been a good day. Justin, we've had guest after guest, good content. It's been fun. Let's talk a little Aggie women's golf and battle test going toe-to-toe. Here was in California, am I right about? USC?
Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles. Gerrod Chadwell's in studio. Sky Sudberry is here as well. Hello, Sky. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You got a great introduction from Gerrod earlier about, so it's going to be fun to chit-chat.
Mm-hmm. She's a pro.
How are things?
Good. Post spring break, we're kind of getting back into gear. I think the young ladies had a good break, and this is our fun time of year where we kind of went down last breath and we come up and we go for a postseason stretch. We leave for Fort Worth on Saturday, and then you've got everything almost every other week all the way out to hopefully a national championship run.
Yeah. Sky, I've got to brag about Gerrod for a second. Not only is he my neighbor and he goes a little fast sometimes, but in the neighborhood. But the swag, his hat, he gave me that same hat a couple years back.
Yeah.
It's my favorite hat. Corton gave me this, but that hat is the hat that I wear everywhere. You always bring the gear.
I try. They keep me on my toes.
Yeah.
It's the best outfits on the team.
It's all about the fit.
Sky, how's this season gone for you so far?
It's been wonderful. Yeah, it's honestly probably been my personal best season yet. We have such a great group of girls, and we've had so much fun this year, so we're just really excited to keep it rolling.
So take me through California, and if you want, Sky, you can kind of give me your perspective. Obviously, a great final round. Take me through the phases, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we had 36 holes the first day, so that's always a really tough challenge. Out there at a golf course that we haven't seen before, USC's home track, so they kind of knew where to go. We were kind of following them around a little bit, seeing the lines, and it was a really hard golf course, but it was fun. I mean, honestly, I feel like we had great energy the whole day. We really were vibing off each other, and we posted a good round, and we were excited to see go into the second day. Try to make it a little bit closer, and we separated ourselves from Oregon, which was kind of all we could do at USC's home course. But yeah, it was a great tournament.
Your perspective of it?
The same. I thought, that place is the greens. We won't probably see greens that undulating and that severe.
What a word! That's great.
Is it a fair assessment?
For sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of local knowledge really helped them. And I thought the biggest thing for us is we got better each round. And I think we learned something about the golf course each round. And I knew how well, we were playing and hitting it. And if we got some things to happen, on the greens for us and get hot with the putter, that we could really, let them know that we're still here. It's just tricky when you talk about the greens. It's like, a shot away from the flag can work towards the flag, and a shot at the flag can go away from it. So not always good shots got rewarded. So you really had to know where you had space and how to get the ball close to the hole. But was really impressed with them. It's just still another step forward. I don't think we've played our best yet. So I'm excited for that because I can see it coming.
I was going to say, it's got to be exciting knowing that, especially with the success you've had, you have not played your best yet.
And I don't look, these young ladies are impressive. And how do you continue to challenge them from August all the way to May? And so I thought this was a great challenge for us to go out west, a different time zone, different grass, different venue against, two of the top 5 teams in the country. And they held their own. So we get that next step in Fort Worth. You're playing Colonial, an iconic venue, and it'll be just as strong a field. It'll be a stronger field than actually USC.
Sky, for you, I feel like every week there's top 5 team here, top 2 team here. It's just constant, and you're also one of those teams, right? The other programs are circling, A&M's going to be there. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been, Coach Lee talks about it a lot. Don't look at the names on the bags. Don't look at the schools on the bags. We're just out there to play our best golf and do what we know how to do. We work really hard at home to be able to travel well and for our game to travel well. So once we get out there, we're just letting it fly. Honestly, we talk about a lot that our qualifying at Traditions is the hardest thing in the world. And Traditions is probably harder than any golf course we see all year long. So once we get to the tournament, it's you can actually take a breather and you can just kind of let it loose. So we always look forward to the tournaments, and just a lot about just keeping your head down and grinding it out and not looking at the scoreboard, obviously, because in team golf, it can change so quickly. And that's what I've learned, my 3 years here. Anything can happen. So,
G, for you, obviously, I think you would prefer to play at a course that you know. But the experience when it's a course you don't know and the adjustments having to be made, I got to assume 2 years down the road, 2 tournaments down the road, that pays dividends later.
Exactly, because that's what we get. We'll be very familiar somewhat with SECs, but you're going to get sent to a regional site that you don't have a whole lot of experience on, so you kind of have to learn on the fly. And then a lot of these young ladies haven't been to San Diego, where hopefully we get to qualify there for a national championship. So I think it just prepares them for that. And I have always been adamant on our schedule that we try and touch each coast, and we get all kinds of different weather and time zones, so that at this crucial time of year that we can adapt pretty fast.
For you, how is that transition of learning a course and then being able to, I guess we'll find out, having to apply it later on?
It's really hard. Yeah, it's something people don't really think about. We're kind of the only sport where our course changes every single time. The weather is different, the grass is different, and we've been all over the country this year. We've been up north, we've been East Coast, West Coast, and it's really going to pay off, for sure, in the postseason when we go to SECs and the national championship. It's really hard. You really just have to take advantage of your practice round. Mm-hmm. We only get one practice round out there, and it's long and it's slow, and it's hard after a travel day to get yourself into the groove of playing, and you're tight from the airplane, and you just kind of want to go to the hotel and just sleep, go the next day, and get to work. But the practice rounds are really important, and I think as a team, year after year, we've done a really good job of making those actually beneficial for us and trying to get used to the different grass and the chipping and the putting, and it really pays off because we talk about a lot, you don't want to wait 9 holes or 15 holes to kind of work into your round, and the round's already over by that point, and you want to be ready when your name's called on the tee box.
What's been the best trip so far this year?
Oh, this year?
And maybe your whole career here at A&M.
No, this year, honestly, a lot of the girls, we agreed that the Folds of Honor was our favorite tournament in Michigan. That golf course, American Dunes, was phenomenal. And obviously, you're playing in the Folds of Honor, so there's something behind it, and it means a lot more than just a regular golf tournament. We love that one.
What was the most difficult course?
Difficult? Probably our first tournament this semester, Palos Verdes. Yeah. That was really, really hard. There was not a flat lie on the whole golf course. It's every shot was a blind shot. The greens were running so fast. It was really, really difficult. It was a really true test of golf.
All right. And which was the most rewarding tournament for you?
That's a great question.
Yes.
Probably also Palos Verdes. Okay. Because we really, I personally really got to see where I was at in my game, and we had perfect weather. And that's just such a hard golf course. You have to hit really good shots. And I felt like I hit really good shots. So that one was really rewarding.
Have you exceeded your own expectations, or are you where you thought you'd be?
I'm where I probably wanted to be, but you never know what's going to happen. Coming into this year, we had 9 girls who can all compete at any given moment. And again, our qualifying is really, really hard. And, you say you want to play in the lineup and that you want to, contribute to the team, but it's really hard to actually go out and do that with everything else that we're dealing with in college. So I am proud of myself this year, but we still have a lot more left to go.
Gerrod, give us a lay of the land. So we've got Fort Worth coming up, the Colonial, and we've got the Mo coming up.
You got the Mo coming up. Sandwiched in between there, Vanessa and Kata will go to Augusta and represent themselves and represent us. And it's almost like an every other week thing. Yeah, we go to Fort Worth next week, excuse me. You have Augusta in there. Then we have the Mo, which is, I'm going to say April 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere around there. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we have probably, I'm going to say a week and a half. Then we go to SECs. Shortly after SECs, we'll find out where we go to regionals. Right now, if we stay somewhere in the position we're at, we have a really good chance to be a 1 seed. And that could send us to Waco, which is close. And then you got to finish top 5 out of there to go to the national championship. So, I think since we've been here, been part of a group that was a number 1 seed. And that is basketball this time of year. You think about what type of season you've had to have to get that honor. And so I think that says a lot about them and what we've done up to this point, that we have a chance to do that, to be a 1 seed.
Remind the audience about the Mo and why it's so important.
Yeah, the Mo, when I first got here, it wasn't on our schedule. And, learning about a lot of the history in Aggie land, the Mo is named after Monica Welsh, General Welsh's late sister. Monica was killed in just a tragic car accident after she had graduated here. So it was important for me and my relationship with them to bring that back. But also just in that, talking about other sports, they don't get to compete at home but one time a year. So I thought it robbed them, the program, of, the young ladies being able to play at home and have a true home game. and traditions being a true test, that we have that home course advantage when we bring teams in here. So the nice thing this year is it's 3 days in nature. Normally it's 2 days. So it's like you're constantly on the golf course and you don't really have time to visit with friends or family or fans that come out. So I'm excited that it'll be 3 days. We'll be here, just be here longer, it seems like, too. So
yeah, I think it's this time of year just goes by so fast. You're just giving me your schedule. I'm thinking about NCAA tournament for men and the women in their WBIT tournament, just all the things that are happening, track and field. Like, it's like for you all, it's like one thing after another over the next couple months.
It really speeds up. And I think the one thing that we learned, we had that special group that started out with this 5 years ago, to really try and take advantage of spring break. I saw that first year we made that championship run, we kind of ran out of gas in that semifinal match. And then next year, we kind of had this time in here where it's like, hey, man, you guys really need to take a time out. Yeah. Because from here, just like what you say we went through, it's 2 months nonstop. And I think Sky might even tell, and I think it's been a big part of her success too, of our time in the gym. I think that's really, it shows up in April and May where we do have a lot of gas in the tank that we can go 6 days and play against the best in the country.
Gerrod and Sky, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll get you guys back here soon, okay?
You got it.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back, listen to our interview with Bucky McMillan next on TexAgs Live. All right, let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our guest is Bucky McMillan as we get ready for the first round of the NCAA Tournament. Bucky, good morning. How are you, sir?
How we doing, guys?
Hey,
Bucky, how much sleep did you get last night?
Well, we didn't leave that school till about 4:30 a.m. grinding out to St. Mary's.
What are your initial thoughts watching the West Coast Power?
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're good. They're a really solid team. Got some bigs. Got a good point guard. Their league, they haven't gone through, the SEC, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an intriguing matchup. We'll have to play really well, but they're a really solid team.
Luke had a great stat just kind of about teams in terms of pace of play. So I would assume from that, it doesn't seem like they've seen too many teams comparable to you guys. And I'd ask you the same thing, like when you're watching them, is there a team that we've seen A&M play this year that you would say is at all similar?
Yeah, it's a great point. They first, we have not played a team as similar to how they play. They remind me of the teams that I used to coach against when I coached in the Southern Conference at Samford.
Okay.
Just really possession by possession, very disciplined team. That kind of group that's going to really execute at a high level. The SEC is more about getting kind of players in space and letting them play. This group is a unit that they're going to do it collectively. Obviously they're physical, but have not gone through the physicality of the SEC,
mm-hmm.
right? Now pace-wise, obviously we're going to be a higher-paced team than they are. They're one of the slower teams in the country. We're one of the faster teams in the country. Alabama did beat them last year in the tournament, and I watched that game late last night. They didn't make a three in the game. St. Mary's, the first half, they just couldn't make a shot. Alabama really got going. But I thought Alabama, they played well in the game, but St. Mary's just could not make a shot. So it's not a realistic depiction,
Yeah.
kind of, it wasn't realistic. They beat Vanderbilt last year in the first round in a low-scoring game.
Yeah, Bucky, I said preseason that your team this year reminded me a lot of Vanderbilt last year, just a little bit undersized. Year one had to come together late with a new coach, but really figured it out late. And I think it's funny that y'all are both getting St. Mary's in the first round. You mentioned that Vanderbilt and St. Mary's played last year. I was wondering if you've watched that tape at all, and what did you see from that game of, St. Mary's has played now 3 SEC teams in a row in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, so we have not watched the Vandy from last year. We're going to watch it here today, but we saw Vandy beat them this year.
Yep.
And that was I watched that game live when it happened. Vandy was rolling. It was earlier in the season, and now St. Mary's has played really well of late. But Vanderbilt, it seemed to me that they weren't going to allow that game just to be a walk. They were going to get up there and make the game up and down. We're going to challenge those guys from St. Mary's. And, I think that Vandy got the game kind of where they wanted it. Now, having said that, they got up pretty good in the first half. And, that changes a lot. We really got to get off to a better start than we have in the past 2 or 3 games. This is not a team you want to play from behind. Yeah. I mean, it just limits you what you can do defensively and offensively. I don't like looking at it where it's like, all right, we got one option right now on defense, and we need to be able to do all of our stuff. And when you get off to a good start, it opens that up. So, that's going to be our biggest challenge to our guys. Get off to a good start, man. And offensively, obviously, we're going to need to push the pace as much as it dictates and take quality shots, because they're not going to take bad shots. In the SEC, you'll see some teams play. They may waste 3 or 4 possessions a half just on taking some low percentage shot. This is a group that they value their shots, and they're going to have really good shot selection in the game.
Bucky, when you talk about pace of play and tempo, how important is it going to be for you all to speed them up? And conversely, how difficult is it in the half court against a team with this kind of size and this kind of discipline?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, speeding them up is one thing, but it's mainly just not allowing them just to get baskets exactly how they want to get them, and then us playing efficient on offense, and that usually that means that you are getting up and down the floor so you can get quality shots. But we don't need to take quick shots that aren't great shots. Negating their size, that's something we've had to do all year long. We've never been the tallest team. I think from the defensive standpoint, I think the biggest challenge for us is going to be just making sure that they're not getting those second and third chance opportunities like in the last Oklahoma game that happened. We gave 19 second chance points, and that was the difference in the game. So I think that we've been fine on first shot defense, but we're going to really have to challenge our guys to block out and limit these guys to one shot because they're too good to get multiple looks at it.
I remember after the Tennessee game, there was a massive emphasis on rebounding, and for the next 4 games, y'all won the rebounding margin handily. I'm wondering what the plan is this week to get that same physicality back in your team, because as you mentioned, just giving up too many offensive rebounds can be a killer, especially against the 13th best offensive rebounding team in the country. I'm just wondering what maybe you've got in store to get that same level of physicality back that we saw after the Tennessee game.
Good question. We already started. So when we lost up there versus Oklahoma, let me just say this: I was ticked off. We played not tough. Oklahoma State, one of the first games of the year, was one of the only games we weren't the hard team until the Oklahoma game. We didn't play physical enough. We didn't play tough enough. We watched the tape before we got on the plane. We got back. We practiced twice on Saturday. Everybody talked about rest. We practiced twice Saturday, once really hard yesterday, and giving them off today. But we've already started to correct that. It was weird because it seemed like all the teams that had a bye, I was talking to Oates at Alabama, all these teams that had a bye kind of went up there and, everybody talked about rest and this and that, but everybody that had a bye looked like they played soft in the first game. Yeah. It was really strange up in Nashville. So we got back, and that's the first thing we've been doing is we've gone bone on bone, hard, physical, like it's, day one practice to make sure we got that. Because we don't have a chance in the game if we're not going to be the hardest playing, toughest team that we've been in these games. Like we have to be that, because we know we're not going to win just because, a size that we don't have that. So we're going to have to be so physical. We've already started to correct that here the past couple of days.
How have the guys embraced that? You think that Oklahoma, that message got through before y'all even got on the plane?
Well, I think that I was talking to Oates about this. I said, look, man, everybody talked about legs. I watched Story for freaking Ole Miss play 4 games, probably never checked out of the game. Yeah. And then in overtime, after playing 40-something minutes, he rises up and dunks on 2 people.
Right.
We're talking about, getting out there and playing basketball, not invading the beaches of Normandy here. Yeah. Let's toughen up a little bit here, guys. Not y'all, my team.
Yeah, us too.
Anyway, I thought that we had, after killing them on Saturday, I thought that yesterday on Sunday we had more pop and more force than we've had in about a month and a half.
Yeah.
So I felt good about it. We just got to carry it to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Bucky, you took this job in April. Here we are in March. Has this bumpy ride that it's been a fun ride and a great season so far. Has anything surprised you in the short amount of time of where your team clicked so quickly, but also adjusted to some of the curveballs that the season brought you?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how we played on the road in the SEC. That was really impressive by our group. It's not easy to get it done on the road. When we lost McKenzie, it makes it even more challenging. But I was really pleased seeing what our guys were able to do on the road. If you go look at these rosters that had major turnover, I think Baylor was one that had a turnover like ours, and that's probably it in terms of everybody. But you're not seeing many of those teams in the tournament, right? You're not seeing many of those teams in the tournament. Even early in the year, we lost to a good Oklahoma State team, and here we are. We persevered, and you would never thought our team at that point would have got to the tournament. And you've seen us continue to grow and to get there. And you look at these teams that didn't get there, and I think that's something we got to remind ourselves of. Is it's hard to do it. It really is. It's really hard to get to the NCAA tournament. And it's something that you gotta be proud of doing. And particularly in our league, that means that you went on the road, you didn't take many nights off because one game difference, you're probably not in the tournament. And that's just the reality of it. So I was really pleased with our ability to go through SEC play and have the consistency and tie for fourth in the league to make it happen.
Yeah, I look back. You talk about road and right off the rip, going off to Tennessee and then double overtime in that one. And then what was the first road win? Auburn, then Tennessee, and then Texas quickly after that. Like, that said something about this team. And what it said to me is sometimes maybe throw out the matchup. I mean, I know you can't do this, but as we're trying to evaluate and predict what happens here, don't look too hard at the matchups and just look at what this team has persevered through. Because I remember sitting there watching y'all, Bucky, speaking of Ole Miss, right? Down 10, 11, 12 with, 9, 10 minutes left in that game and wondering if we were going to get there. And here we are going to OKC. So it should be a hell of a ride. It's been a hell of a ride already this season. So we look forward to getting up there and seeing you guys starting on Thursday. I think the crew is heading out Tuesday. You know me, I'll be rolling up Thursday morning.
He's got the private jet.
I'm driving, dude. I'm driving. It was the one destination I'll be driving to. So we'll see you. We'll see you in a couple days, man.
All right, boys. Well, listen, everybody's got to go up there like I tell my team. We're going up there to win 2 dang games. Mm-hmm. We're going to be back here next week talking about the Sweet 16.
Let's go.
Let's go grind it out, boys.
All right.
Thank you, Bucky. Appreciate it.
There, see you, buddy. Yep. Speak it into existence.
That was Bucky McMillan on TexAgs Live. We're going to hit a break. Really short segment, like the shortest segment ever on the other side. This is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, we got a minute left on TexAgs Live. We're going to go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin Paez, close us out with something good.
Well, I was going to mention that we talked about Christian Kirk joining the 49ers, joining Mike Evans to be a new tag team duo of Aggies, but also Michael Clemens deserves some recognition here, joining Jalen Jones in Indianapolis with the Colts. He just signed a deal, leaving the Jets.
Was that today?
That was yesterday, I believe.
Okay, sweet. Man. All right. Well, I love it. Thanks, Justin. Appreciate your time. Thank you to all of our great guests today. It was a very busy show. All of the coaches that joined us, Bucky, Joe Sarra, Joni Taylor, as well as Gerrod Chadwell, the players they brought with them. We had Connor O'Gara, Justin Lanham, and Charean Williams, so thank you to all of them as well. David Nuño will be live from OKC tomorrow morning, so be sure you stay tuned in for that. And this has been TexAgs Live. We were presented by David Garter's Jewelers.